What is going on, you guys? Welcome to another episode. Today, I want to get into a video called The Male Advantage Traps by First Man. So, to introduce this, the male or the great male advantage is something like a lot of YouTubers talk about. Basically, it's the idea of getting to around the age of 30 as a man and having worked on your body, your finances, all these different things. Essentially, a lot of things, especially dating, would have been maybe more difficult for you up until that point, and then you reach a threshold where things start to become easier. Like, some guys, I think he might have said this before too, like life starts at 30. So he'll get into the idea here around some of the traps you can fall into around the great male advantage, like he talks about.
This is the male advantage traps. Okay, I've never made a video on this before because I was still waiting on one thing to happen, which was I'm in the male advantage now. I can feel it. Life's good, put it that way. The only thing is, it's when do you start living it? And I've had to battle with that in the last 2 years of my life. And I feel like now I've got a good grasp on it. Now I've got a good balance. I've kind of somewhat figured it out. I can finally make this video. So one of the traps I've told you guys about before, and two of the traps I haven't, which is going to be, it's going to be good. I love it when it's new content. A first male advantage trap is, and this gets everybody. This is when you're at school, when you're kind of let's say you're maybe 18 years old. Maybe you went to, we call it sixth form in the UK. I don't know in America if you're at college by then already. But you could be 18 and you're one of the, is it the seniors? And in the UK, if you're 18, you're able to drive. So you're in sixth form with all these other people from, I guess it is, from 16 to, and I think most have just turned 17, but 16 to kind of 18. And I think it's the same in college in America as well. So if you're the guy who's 18, who can drive, who can drink, who's starting to look a lot more like a man, who's probably found the gym somewhat at that point, who still has those youthful looks, you still have thousands of friends. Do you know what I mean? You've got hundreds of guys that you're high-fiving every day, girls that you're hugging. You're going to feel as though that's the male advantage because you're the 18-year-old guy that can do all that stuff, that has all that power. All the 16, 17, and some of the 18-year-old girls are going to really want you. All of a sudden, you're going to feel like some superstar. And also on top of that, because it's not just about girls, but you're going to have, your level of competition, everyone's going to look like you. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, I think when I was at school, we didn't even take into consideration the rest of the world. I didn't even take into consideration that there were guys out there driving around in Ferraris that were jacked, and it was more like, oh, this is our little micro bubble, and I'm the king of the micro bubble. I'm quick, I'm strong, I can play football, I've got a nice head of hair. Do you know what I mean? It was shit like that. And, I'm the most popular guy in this school. It was stuff that didn't matter that you almost see as your male advantage years. So as that tails off and you go a few years beyond that and you get into the real world, which is the high school to adult transition that I've spoken to you guys about before. Once you get into those early adult years, it gets exposed and you go, oh, it'll never be as good as school, man. It'll never be as good as those years. They're the best years of your life. It's just all downhill from here. And a lot of guys give up. That's the first.
He might be getting ready to say this, but just imagine, because some people say that, you hear that from some older people too, and that's just a absolutely crazy or wild idea or thing to say. Imagine you have your whole life and you're sitting there getting older saying that high school or college was the best time of your life, when you could have improved things so much for your later years, 30, 40, 50, etc., to be amazing, right? There's so much room for it to be amazing. It's actually an incredibly insane idea that college or high school were the best years of your life. And what I would recommend to you, if you're watching this, is don't let them be. Don't let that be the case. The later years should be the best year of your life, 30, 40, 50 onwards, because you've actually been developing yourself.
Male advantage trap, because it gives you from about 16, 17, 18, when your hormones are flying, people are starting to have sex for the first time, it gives you a little preview. It says to you, okay, all of this is on the cards. This is going to be the rest of your life. How fun is this? Hey, go out and party, get drunk, date a load of girls, sleep around. Oh, now you're in the real world, you need money, you need different shit, and your hair's falling out. Do you know what I mean? Oh, all those beers that sounded fun at 18, at 22, you've got a little beer belly, and your face is now like 4% body fat heavier. That's the first trap. It gets you. It draws you in. It says, hey, you've got this amazing life ahead of you. Only kidding. Sort your shit out, you bum. It's crazy. So, the next one, and I've spoken to you guys about this before, is around about 27. I've said 27 is the most dangerous age for men. I still truly believe that, because for a lot of guys, let's say if you get into the working world at 21, you work extremely hard, you're battling away, it's really difficult. Give it 6 years, you're going to be in a pretty substantial position. You're going to be in a position where I think the boss would probably look at you and go, do you know what? I would give you a promotion now. Do you know what? I think I can trust you now. You've been here for 6 years. You're a decent guy. Or you've changed jobs 2-3 times, and you've, like, as in a good way, where you're like leapfrogging in your career. And you get to a point where you go, I'm on 50, 60,000 a year. It happened to me as well. I was on £60,000 per year. And I was like, wow, I'm kind of balling out of control. Now, during those years, you've probably partied enough to the point where you've gone, I'd rather get in shape now. So you start putting in a little bit of work. You get in the gym. You get some muscle on your frame. You look a little bit bigger as a man. You age a little bit in a good way, where you look a little bit more masculine in the face. Like you kind of look as though you've got your life sorted. You've got some experience, which is a good thing for men. You start putting some extra pieces together. Maybe you get some assets, a nice car. Maybe you put down the first deposit on a house. Maybe you're just renting a really nice property. You mature as an individual, so your experience and your life skills go up, so you become a more attractive individual to the whole world in general. You definitely start dressing better. You might stop doing the red hair, red mohawk shit that I showed you guys before. And you just start bringing it together for the first time ever in your life. You might start seeing results. Now, the danger of that is, if you're a guy who's gone his whole life without any attention, and then you turn 27, and it's the age that men report having the most sex in their lives, because I think it would be higher at other ages, but you get to 27, you report having the most sex of your life because you can't turn down the first few beautiful women that you've ever met in your life. You just can't believe that there's a few beautiful women that actually want you now. You start sleeping with them and you go, oh my God, this is the best year of my life. This is incredible. I'm going to marry that one. Do you know what I mean? You get carried away with I've never felt this before. What is this? I need to capitalize now. She's a great woman. Nobody's ever wanted me before. Yeah, let's get married. And it just turns into years and years and years of just destruction, because 90% of relationships that get together before 30 fail. And the reason for that, there was multiple reasons, but people change over time. People let themselves go, men and women. But I think the big one for a man who's improving and getting better is that by the time you get to your 30s, and let's say you've kicked on to another couple of gears, if you and the woman that you met were both 27, she was 26, 27, whatever, by the time you get to 35, you're going to be better than ever. And I don't think she would quite be the same as she was when you met her. I think that's fair to say. She might be a better person, but you might have outgrown her, if you get what I'm talking about. So that becomes a second trap, because it draws you in. Before you know who you are, you've gone from a 27-year-old ambitious guy who's on the path to greatness to, and I've done the video on this before, you can search 27, the most dangerous age for men. I did all the figures and whatnot. But you could get to 32, 33, I think I said. And hang on, let me do the maths quickly in my head. So what did I say? I think it was 8 years of destruction, I said. So it might have been from 28. Okay, it was 35, 36-ish. Let's just call it 35. And by 35, most guys in that pattern, or most guys in the world, have got 2 kids, a mortgage, they're married, and they've pretty much spent all that money on those 3 features of life. So, is that a good thing? Is it good to be married with a house and 2 kids? Yeah, it's not bad. I don't think it's the worst situation in the world. I think it's kind of beautiful, in hindsight from making the previous videos. But at the same time, I think that same guy could have had the same life, 35 onwards, with better stuff. So I think he could have had a better woman, a better house, a better car, way more money in the bank. He could have been in a better financial position. His life could have been incredible. He might have even met the same woman later on down the line. Who knows? But I just think that
I think it's worth mentioning too that it might just be because there's a spectrum of people, right? So let's just say for the sake of this conversation, there's 2 types of guys, right? One type of guy who gets into a relationship and he was going to the gym 7 days a week before, working on his business, hustling, and he gets into the relationship and he is doing less of those things or not doing those things at all because he got the relationship, he secured it, he feels comfortable now. And then there's another kind of guy who does that and he keeps doing those things. Like he holds his boundaries around work, keeps working on himself, his business, his fitness, etc. And it's not changing because there's a great, like a woman in his life now, right? So that's one thing that's worth mentioning, just as like a conversation to what Chris or First Man is saying here, because that's like really important to acknowledge. Like you have to take accountability for what you do in those situations, and at the same time, I think also some of what he's saying is true as well, right? Like I mean, maybe there's a chance if you are that kind of guy that it'll slow down your ambitions, right? Like, you're gonna go to the gym less, work on your business less, et cetera, et cetera. And some of it might have to do with some of like the feminine energy that you're around as much. Although at the same time, you can talk about like certain relationships are like an anchor, like in the sea, like an ocean for a boat, or a sail, right, or a skyrocket, basically. So like some will keep you stagnant or you'll sink, and then some you'll skyrocket because you've got this really amazing partner who's also holding you accountable. Like, oh babe, didn't you want to go to the gym today? You said you wanted to do this, right? Like oh, don't you have to go, work on your business for a little while today? Like all these different things. So I mean, you'll know the difference eventually when you see these kinds of women. But this is just worth acknowledging, like a side point to what he's talking about.
I think that the age of 27 is such a trap because you become really attractive for the first time, where I've described it before as the tables are turning. So you're starting to look like a great option for a girl that maybe rejected you when you were 21. You're both 21, she says no. You both get to 27,
I guess what he's saying is it's easy for you to settle at this point.
and she's like, oh, actually, as somebody who is starting to feel the early signs of decline or aging or less attention, this guy's starting to look like a winner now. You, for the first time, go, oh, wow, this girl actually wants me. And like I said, you're sitting there at 35 and you're going, shit, I'm actually better than ever. I'm more attractive than ever. I've got more money than ever. And I'm kind of like just stuck in this loveless relationship with somebody that I just rushed in with because it was the first option that I was given. That's the second male advantage trap. It makes you think you're in the male advantage. You're like, I'm here now. I got all the attention in the world. This is great. This is everything I ever wanted. I'm making 60 grand a year. I've got this beautiful woman on my arm. Let's get married, have kids. Let's go for it. Like, you get carried away with your emotions. That is the time to breathe, to stop, to think, okay, I'm going a bit early here. This is my first few results. Let me just take my time. This is all just my opinion, but it's from what I've seen in life. Now, the final one, and I spoke to you guys about this before, is making money is addictive. Improving is addictive. Spending all your time and being selfish on yourself is addictive. So you will get to a certain point in life, maybe it will be 30 years old, you'll hit the male advantage years, the actual male advantage years, and you'll go, oh my God, this is incredible. I don't want it to stop. By holding out from 27 to 30, my life got significantly better. I'm now flying around the world. I'm meeting all these beautiful women. I'm going to the nicest restaurants. I've got 20 grand a day coming in. And then you just need to realize, like, but when do I cash in? Like, when do I actually enjoy myself? Because, like I said, that becomes an addiction then. And it's very easy to get carried away and just work non-stop and just go, how much more can I make? How far can I push this?
Well, yeah, no, I think a lot of guys do that too. I mean, and some guys, they actually get to the point where they're struggling because they pour all this into their business and they don't have any time for themselves, or they're not delegating the time for themselves to do these other things. So that's like a side point to that, but it's not really specifically relevant to what he's saying, right? It's just important to realize, like, okay, well, when do you cash in, right? Like, when do you step off the ladder? Because what he's saying, like 20 grand a day, like that's pretty good. Like, there's a lot of people who you see a bunch of ads come up on, Instagram or YouTube, and it's like, you want to become a drop shipper, Amazon FBA, marketing, sales. You want to make 10K a month? You want to make 20K a month, right? But he's talking about 20K a day. Like, I mean, that's pretty good, like, so it's a good point to think about that, because you can make it an addiction and you can stay in that forever, or you can start to actually focus on some things outside of that. Like he mentioned earlier, it being really beautiful once you get to the point where you find like a amazing woman who will help you skyrocket your results. So maybe something important, like if I was in front of him, to say, it's like, well, maybe you can actually support your addiction a little bit, like not in a bad way, like don't, like, um, make work your life or your identity, but in a way where she's actually helping you excel because she's around. And maybe you're doing even better than 20K a day and not working as much, right? Or like it's just somehow more supportive, more fulfilling. So it's working better because you found a right woman to keep around there. Because you mentioned like starting a family, having kids would be beautiful, again with the right one. So that's probably what I would ask him if I was in front of him at the table having this conversation, because that's a really interesting point that he brings up.
And before you know you're like some 48-year-old guy going, I never did the family thing. I never settled down. I never fell in love. I didn't relax. Oh, I'm having a heart attack at 48. Fuck. Oh, my life's over. Do you know what I mean? That's the third male advantage trap. And it's a completely different type of trap because you've already made it. You've got everything you've ever wanted. And then you just get a little bit greedy. And I've spoke to you guys before about how I'd rather be, and this will sum it up perfectly because this is what I mean. So I would rather be the 35-year-old guy with 10 million in the bank, with a six-pack, low body fat, looks healthy and happy, has a great life balance, is traveling the world, you know, is seeing cool shit, and, you know, is very settled, has a nice routine and whatnot. I'd rather be that guy who is really, like, happy and living his life than be the guy who is, let's say, 45 years old, a multi-billionaire, but has a heart attack that year. Do you know what I mean? Who just does it, all he does is work. He's fat as hell, or he's getting delivered.
Well, think about it. I mean, time is more important than money, which also means that your health is more important than money. Because if you have time and your health, you can always make more money. Money is made up, right? That's the least of your worries. Because if your health is just in the crapshoot, right, and you're trading all your time for money, and you don't have any time, well, you end up in that situation, right? And you realize that you didn't stop and basically enjoy your life, like live your life, and also because there's like that's way on the other extreme, right? Like because hard work has to be mixed with working smart. Doctors and construction workers work hard, but they don't necessarily make enough, and they also don't work smart either, right? I mean, like construction, sometimes they get things done fast, right? But they work like 12 hours a day or more. And then healthcare workers, like doctors, working overnight or 12 hours. I get people need to be taken care of, you know, they're in the hospital, etc. But it's just funny that, like, you know, someone in healthcare is like working 12 hours a day or more. It's just not really conducive, right? It's like, it's ironic, you could say. And that's just a whole side point to what he's saying, because that's a whole different kind of guy, like built his business and his health is just crap. And you don't want to be that guy, because, I mean, again, like, you could have taken care of yourself, had a little bit more balance, still been doing well financially, and also had an amazing family with an amazing woman by your side. Probably would have been doing better financially anyways because of that. And that's important to recognize, like, becoming the guy who knows how to pick the right woman.
Bit of weight. He doesn't look healthy. He's always out of breath. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather be the 35-year-old guy worth 10 million than the 45-year-old guy who's a billionaire. But I'd much rather have the better life. You know, the quality of life, the calmness, and basically what I'm saying to you guys is just not, when you get to the male advantage years, you need to realize, when do I take my foot off the gas? When do I realize that, hey, I have actually made it. I'm pretty secure here. I'm making very good money. Let me bring the Disney in. Let me bring the wife in. Let me bring the kids in. Let me actually experience life. Let me put a smile on my face. Because you can only work that hard for so long. You can only keep pushing for so long. Once you've built it and you've built sustainability, yeah, you might be doing it for greatness. But I think every guy should kind of take his foot off the gas a little bit and say, I want to enjoy life now. I want to be happy. At that point, you should be rich enough to hire employees and put people in place and put systems in place. So you're only working like 8 hours a day, 5 days per week, like a normal guy. But the results that you're getting in your business are 10x compared to everyone else, because you've got systems, you've got employees. You don't have to do that grind work at that stage. That is how you can get the balance. Okay, it really does matter. But for a lot of guys, they can get to the male advantage years and be like, this is going to continue forever. And you go, okay, now you're sounding like a woman. Now you're in the woman era where you're going, oh, I've been hot from 16 till 27. This is going to last forever. Why would it ever go away? And you get a little bit blasé and lazy. And then next thing you know, you're the 40-year-old guy with health issues, a bad back, and you've gone, shit, I really let myself go there. I really just hammered down on work and didn't take care of my body, and I forgot about all the array of self-improvement things that you need in a male life to keep yourself going. So that for me are the three, those three there for me are the three male advantage traps. And I think if you avoid them and you play them correctly, you can have an unbelievable life. And I think probably from about 28 to... I think from 28 to around about 58, you can have the absolute time of your life in that bracket if you're doing the right things, if you're aware of where you are, if you time everything perfectly, you know, if you're cautious in the early days, and then once you're in the male advantage, you're like, okay, I need to acknowledge this, let me live a little, let me enjoy myself. I think by the time you get to like 58, you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, I really used that properly. You don't want to be in your male advantage years just working 18-hour days, 7 days a week, doing the grinds. And then you go, hey, I kind of missed out on those best years when I looked my best, when I was the most attractive, when I felt the best about myself, when I was able to travel and whatnot. It's male life, I've said it 100 times before, but male life is all about great timing. If you can time things correctly, everything comes together. And it helps if, you know, you can accomplish success early on, fitness early on. You can tick all those boxes. That's why I always say to you guys, teens and 20s, just write them off, just work hard, 18-hour days, 7 days a week, just get it done. Do whatever you have to do, it doesn't matter. Just get to that finishing line, and then after that, you know, you can actually enjoy yourself. But yeah, male life is all about timing. It's a difficult one, but you got to avoid those traps, guys. Those traps, they're there. They'll try and stop you, and then even when you make it, they'll try and trick you into thinking, okay, yeah, $1 million a year is nice, but imagine 10, and then next thing you know, you just don't have a life. You know, you haven't enjoyed a single penny of it, and you're just some old disgruntled man hiring escorts. It's a delicate balance, the male advantage. If you get it right, it's perfection. If you don't, it can be very difficult. So be careful, guys. Watch out for those traps, and I'll speak to you all soon.
All right. So obviously that's a very helpful video, whether you're a younger guy or a little bit older, right? Good to be aware of, because I mean, at some point, I mean, your foot's not going to be on the gas forever, right? Let's just put it that way. What he was talking about, you know, at some point, yes, like the working hard and smart is important. Like he was talking about delegating, so you have your time back, your freedom back. And once you're making a decent bit and you have a great woman around you, you might be making more because of her, right? That's the importance of filtering or vetting for the right woman. And one little thing worth mentioning there is, like, you know, sometimes you can't take your foot off the gas right away. Let's say, at least the way, in terms of a dating sense, like you get into the relationship with that girl, she's going to see who you are when you're entering that dating phase with her or relationship. And there's a reason you attracted her a particular way. Now, the difference, I think, would be, you know, how you lead that relationship. And she's going to be very attuned to that, like very aware. And she's also going to notice if you stop doing some of the things that you were doing in terms of like how you were dating her in the beginning, what kind of guy you were, like how much you were working, how much you were going to the gym, etc. And she's going to help you, right? Because that's the difference. Like she's going to support you, watch your wallet, help you make more, help you make wiser decisions, hold you accountable. So she's probably going to help you get to a point where you're not working as much, so your foot can be on the gas in the right ways. You know, pouring into the relationship, pouring into your health, while your business sustains itself. And so now you've got a really great life. I think that's a great place to end the video. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked it, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You got this, bro.